Hi everybody, Mr. Alex here, and today in our third video we're going to be working with formulas. So let's jump in and get started with Google Sheets. I'll be down here in the corner. Let's take a look at the different steps before we get too far ahead of ourselves. So in our third video we will be working on these 4 steps: references, finding averages, finding the median, and finding a simple sum. Okay, let's start with references. So here we are back at the exemplar, and what we're going to be doing is this section down at the bottom of my spreadsheet. We're going to be making this, and actually it looks like a lot of math is going into it, but you'd be surprised at how quick you're going to be able to do all of these calculations. All right. So back over to our goals. First, we're going to be working on references. Okay, let's jump back to our spreadsheet. So where I left you in the second video, we were around this step here. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down, and before we do anything, we need to label these 4 boxes down below. So in the exemplar, we have average, median, mode, and sum. I'm going to copy it from mine and just paste it down below. Please write those now. Okay, now that we have these 4 words, this is a continuation of our header column, right? Let's go ahead and let's work on our formula for this column. I'm going to just go back up just a little bit. So here is our sit-up column every day. And what we want to find out is our average. But what we have to do is something called a reference before we can do math. So to create a reference, we need to first of all type equals. As soon as we type an equal sign, that tells Google Sheets or Excel that we're about to do some math. And when I did that, did you notice it popped up more information up here? It's kind of helping me. Let's read what it says. Average, whoa, it already knew what I wanted to write in there. Holy cow, that's pretty smart. Then it shows an open parenthesis, or you might hear your teacher say the word bracket. Then it says B2 colon B14 end parenthesis. So this is what we're referring to when I say reference. A reference is a cell number. So let's look. B2, correct, is our starting point. So we start with B2. Now to show our range, we're going to write a colon. Then we're going to show our end cell. So B2 to B14. So B14. Perfect. Man, Google Sheets, you're pretty smart to be able to figure out exactly what I wanted to do for me. So I'm going to go ahead and click Enter. And look at that. So after the equal sign, it wrote the word average, open parenthesis, B2, colon, B14, end parenthesis. And it's even popped up the math as a result, what it's going to show. This is pretty cool. I'm going to hit Enter. Nice. When I did that, I get this very big number that shows me the average number of sit-ups I do. So I'm usually around 4 or 4.5 sit-ups. Since I can't do half a sit-up, I'm going to say my average is 4. I'm going to round down. And I really don't need to see all these extra numbers, so I'm going to go ahead and go up to the decimal place and move it in. I'll have it round up to the nearest tenth. Oh, look, it rounded up to 4.5, so it looks like my average is actually 5 after all. That's awesome. Let's try another reference. So what if my median sit-up equals. What if my median was 4? Notice that after I hit equals, it allows me to then click somewhere to put in my reference. But what if I wanted to type it? Let's try again. Let's write a reference. I'm going to write equals. How about D4? Whoa, D4. Look at that. So we can click or we can write to create a reference. What if I wanted to see D4 minus A6? Oh no. That's not going to work. That's a date. Let me change it to a different one. Let me try changing it to B6. Okay, cool. Hey, look at that. It came up with some simple math, -4. Remember a second ago I just said, oh, I can't let it subtract a date? Let's see what happens when I subtract a date from 3. I get this bizarre looking result. It looks like it's December 18th, 1781. Google Sheets seems confused. I'm going to just go ahead and delete that. Okay, well, let's try another simple reference. What if I wanted to say sum? I'm going to skip down to sum first. I'm going to go ahead and click equals. And what if I write sum? And after I write the name of the equation, I'm going to say open parentheses. And what if I said, tell me the sum of everything? Notice my reference says B2 colon E14. So B2 to E14. That looks about right. I'll close the parentheses and I'll hit enter. Nice. So I've done 279 things. Let me double click it. When I double click, I can go back and edit the formula. What happens if I forget to close my parentheses? Oh, it's still new because it's smart. Oh, because it wrote it for me. But between you and me, when we start getting more complex with our formulas, you're going to need to remember to close them. Okay, so going back to our list of different steps, you understand pretty well the different kinds of references, as well as how to do an average. Let's try with median, and then afterwards sum. So here's median. Let's go ahead and type equals median. Oh, I just started typing it and it knew what I wanted. Let's click it. Awesome, it's doing the work for me. Let's select our range by just clicking and dragging. And remember, we need to close our parenthesis. Enter. Nice. So my middle number is 4 from my list of numbers. Perfect. Our next one is to do sum. I'm going to come back to mode in just a second. For sum, I'm going to click equals sum, open parenthesis, and I'm going to go ahead and select all. Let's close. Let's hit enter. Awesome. Sorry about that. So we can see that I have done 58 sit-ups in the last few days. So with the word mode, I'm going to leave that up to you. I'll give you a hint. We're going to need to start with an equal sign. But how could we find the mode, or the most common number of sit-ups in this column? How do you think you could do it? Challenge yourself and see if you can come up with it. And while you're at it, why don't you go ahead and explore this button up here, Functions. You might find some more really cool things that the math that Google Sheets can do. Now, the last pro tip I want to give you guys to kind of blow your minds is, remember at the very beginning, we filled our column with dates. We're going to do the same thing. but with math. I'm going to select all of my math that I've done after I've finished mode. So I've selected it all, and I get that cool little blue box again. Remember, that blue box lets me fill. So I'm going to click on that and drag it to the right. Awesome! Look at that. So it found the average first time, and then it was smart enough where it figured out my average for the next column, 3.9. What did I do? 3.9 push-ups. Ooh, not so good at push-ups. My average burpee was, I could do about 7.3 in a day. And my average amount of jumping jacks was 5.8. And it did the same math with my median, and it did the same math with my sum. Awesome! So as you can see, this is a really a useful tool that can help us do math quickly. All right, that's all for today's video. I'll see you in the last video where we're going to be working on making a chart to display our information. See you in the next one.